The information provided by Trading Forex Price Action to you does not constitute personal financial advice. The information provided is of a general nature only and does not take into account your individual objectives, financial situation, or needs. It should not be used, relied upon, or treated as a substitute for specific professional advice.
Weekly Forecast.
Hey guys, this is a weekly forecast for February 28th through March 4th of 2022. Okay, we'll start out with the Eurjpy. This is the weekly chart. We'll start off with an overview. So since the last long trade that form was right here, and last year at this point, we had compact short price action that form which shows strong short strength. So in the long term, I'm short biased. Right back down to this pivot low right here. And moreover, since this weekly chart is stating that price is likely to reach this pivot low before reaching this pivot high. In the medium term, I am also short biased. Right back down to this pivot low right here. Okay, let's talk entries. Okay, this is a weekly chart. So the current setup I'm looking at is that again, since price is likely to reach this pivot low before reaching this pivot high, as price pulled back in these areas, for the last couple of weeks, I was taking multiple short entries with this main stop loss at this pivot high right here. So let me just show you what that's all about. Let's go over to the 1 hour chart. Alright, so on this 1 hour chart, as price pulled back in these areas, I took a short entry at 131.67, another one at 131.70, and moreover, as price pulled back in these areas, there were no signs of short-term long strength. And so I maintained those short positions. And moreover, I took another short entry at 132 at these levels right here. Again, with all stop losses at 133.67 above. And then as price came all the way down to these levels, there were still no signs of short-term long strength. So I was keeping the short positions in. However, as price pulled back right here, right at this point right here, there were signs of extreme short-term long strength. And so at this point, I aborted all 3 short positions for a small profit. And moreover, took a counter bias long entry. Now recall that I was mentioning that the weekly bias is still short, and so I'll be aborting this counter bias long entry on the first sign of weakening long strength. And that weakening long strength happened on this trend line breakout. As you can see right here, there was a breakout and no immediate break back in. So right at this pullback area right here, I aborted that counter bias long entry again for a small profit, and simultaneously entered another short position at 131.50 with the same stop loss at 133.67. And moreover, as price fell all the way down to these levels, there were no signs of short-term long strength, so I was maintaining that short position. Now recall last week I was mentioning I will only take part of this short position out at these levels if there's extreme long strength, which at this point did not form, so I still have the full short position in from this point right here. However, if extreme long strength does kick back in, I will be aborting only a part of that short position, for the weekly bias is still short in my opinion. Now the reason why I still believe this weekly bias is short is due to the following reasons. Now again, you want to remember, to confirm biases on the lower time frame, you want to constantly see higher degrees of strength in the direction of the higher time frame's bias, which is short. And there was extreme short strength at this level, and finally at this level with this fake 1 hour HNS that actually went its target height, all showing extreme short strength and confirming this weekly short bias. So again, you want to recall, even in prices going up in all these areas, as long as there are higher degrees of short-term short strength, that weekly bias is still confirmed as short. Okay, and moreover, at this point, even if we do get further pullbacks all the way up to these levels, I'll still be willing to take more short entries, again with the same stop loss at 133.67 above and the same target below. Okay, and there is a possibility that price may pull back further at this point due to a daily bias that formed this week. So let me go ahead and show you that. Alright, so on this daily chart, the last short trade that formed was right here, and the last long trade that formed was right here. And this long trade was stronger than this last daily short trade, so the daily bias is long. Or in other words, price is likely to reach this pivot high before reaching this pivot low. However, the overarching bias on the weekly chart is still short, so this daily long bias can fail at any time. And moreover, keep in mind that I do want to see more pullbacks long so I could take more short entries. So this is actually a good sign in my case. Okay, so for next week, I'll just be watching if price could give us further pullbacks while maintaining higher degrees of short-term confirmation on the lower time frames, so I could take more short entries. Okay, now I'll be updating you guys on the midweek analysis on this one. Alright, so let's go on to the pound dollar. Okay, and if you're having trouble understanding what I'm talking about in terms of weekly biases and lower confirmations, please watch my price action trading course. For that course is designed to provide you the necessary information so you can understand how to trade price action. Okay, this is a monthly chart. We'll start off with an overview. So since this monthly trend line right here, this became legitimate with this 3 touches, 1, 2, and 3 right here. And since price has a tendency to want to test strong levels in the long term, I am long biased. Right back up to this horizontal trend line. And moreover on the weekly chart, since there was a strong long trade that formed and a weak short trade that formed, in the short term I am also long biased, right back up to this pivot high right here. Okay, let's talk entries. Okay, this is a weekly chart. Let me run you by the setup I'm currently looking at. So a couple months back, there was a weekly short trade that formed right here, and then a stronger long trade formed right here. So at this point, the bias was long, or in other words, price was likely to reach this pivot high before reaching this pivot low. And so price was going in that direction. However, there was another new weekly short trade that formed, which was again weaker than this previous long trade. So the bias remained long. However, the main target at that point became at this pivot high, while the main stop loss level did not move at this pivot low. So if you recall, I was waiting for a pullback right down to this 1.33 and beyond levels for a long entry. Now, typically, I would have taken a long entry at this 1.3300 levels with a stop loss at this pivot low. However, if you recall my midweek analysis, I was mentioning there was a fake 1 hour double top that formed right here that actually reached its target height level, signaling short strength. And so although we got this pullback all the way down to 133, I did not take this long entry as of yet, while I need some confirmation on the lower time frame that shows long strength that can override this short strength created by this fake 1 hour double top that formed right here. So let me go ahead and show you what I'll be looking for in the following weeks. Let's go over to the 1 hour chart. Okay, so on this 1 hour chart, if you guys recall, there was extreme long strength that formed in this area right here, which would have been a nice mid-row long entry along with that weekly long bias. And then moreover on the midweek analysis, I was mentioning this fake 1 hour double top that formed. However, it reached its target height level before reaching the second top stop loss level, signaling short-term extreme short strength. And so we got this fall all the way down to these levels right here, where there was a 4 hour trend line where I was mentioning if there is extreme long strength that forms, I will be taking a mid-row long entry. However, that did not form. And so price fell all the way down to the 13300 levels. However, I did not take this long entry. Again, it's because I need some confirmation of extreme long strength kicking back in that can override the short strength created by this fake 1 hour double top right here. Okay, so one setup that may possibly be forming at this moment for extreme long strength is on the 4 hour chart. Let's go over there. Okay, so on this 4 hour chart, I draw on this trend line from this pivot to this pivot right here. Okay, so at this point, there was a breakout and immediate break back in. Now this signals 4 hour normal long strength, correct? However, again, recall, I need strong or extreme long strength created by that 1 hour fake double top. And so at this point, if price could fall right back down to stop out this pivot low where this long strength was created, that will show strong short strength, correct? However, simultaneously, if we could get a legitimate V-shaped recovery on the lower time frames, that will show that this strong short strength was actually overridden again, creating an extreme long strength. Now, this is the exact same setup that formed on this area right here for a mid-row long entry that I showed you earlier. Now, this could happen again at this level right here. That would be a reason for me to take that long entry along with that weekly bias. Now, moreover, this confirmation long can also form through price patterns. So for example, if you could get a 1 hour and above fake double bottom that forms. However, if this fake double bottom could reach its target height level before reaching the second bottom stop loss level, that too will show strong long strength. And that is another way to confirm this long entry. Okay, but for the time being, there seems to be long strength kicking back in right on these levels. So let me just show you that on the 15-minute chart. Okay, so on this 15-minute chart, as price fell down here and recovered all the way up to these levels. First of all, we had a fake HNS that formed right here. However, as you can see, the right shoulder stop loss level was hit before the target height level and signaling normal long strength. And moreover, there was a breakout and a breakback in of this trend line right here. However, as you can see, the break-in candle was slightly not at the same level as a breakout candle. And so in my opinion, this trend line breakout does not apply any short-term long strength. And so at the current moment, there's still only a little bit of long strength on this pair created by this HNS right here. Okay, so for next week, I'll be looking for extreme long strength to form at lower levels for that long entry. And again, I'll keep you guys updated with the midweek analysis. Alright, so let's go on to the Euro USD pair. Okay, this is a monthly chart. We'll start off with an overview. So since this price action right here is very strong short and this move still having a ways to go, in the long term I'm short biased right back down to this pivot low right here. And moreover, since there was a breakout of this trend line from this pivot to this pivot right here, with that breakout being right here, and seeing that this trend line is prominent and for the time being has not been broken back in yet, in the medium term I'm still long biased right back up to this pivot high right here. Okay, let's talk entries. Okay, this is a weekly chart. For a full explanation of what's been happening in the price in this entire area, please refer to the Forex Recap series. Okay, but the last setup that happened on this weekly chart was that there was a strong short trade that formed and a week-long trade that formed. And so as price pulled all the way back to these levels, I took two short entries, one at 1.2250 and another one at 120.30 at these levels, with both stop losses at this pivot high right here. And moreover, as price came all the way down to these levels, there was consistently no signs of long strength on the lower time frames. And so I kept partial position of both those short positions in. And moreover, as price pulled back in these areas, there was still no signs of long strength on the lower time frames. And so at the current moment, I'm still willing to hold those partial short positions until price reaches that monthly downward trend line that I showed you on the overview, roughly at these levels right here. Now, there's a couple interesting things that are happening in this area, although there was no weekly bias. So let me go ahead and show you that. Let's go over to the daily chart. Okay, so on this daily chart, there was actually a short trade that formed right here. However, it did not have a target, for there was no long trade to provide as a target with this pivot low. So I did not take this short entry. However, if I were to be trading aggressively, this would have been an okay short trade to take. Now the reason being is that at this point right here, there was a 4-hour fake HNS that formed that typically shows normal long strength. However, that target height level was reached, showing that this long strength was overridden by stronger short strength, thus creating strong short strength. And so with a confirmation like that, even if you don't have a target and you're trading aggressively, this is a setup that you can take for intraday short trade. More often than not, if there is no obvious target created through a bias, it's wise not to take these short entries. For in the long term, trading without targets, no matter how much strength there is short, the losses will catch up to you. So just keep in mind, it is possible to take entries without targets through biases. It's just that you have to be very careful with targets, and it's only under aggressive trading conditions. Okay, and moreover, in the coming weeks, let me just show you what I'm expecting price to do on this pair. Okay, so let me just get rid of these and zoom out a little bit. Okay, at this point right here, as of yesterday, there was a fake daily double bottom that formed. Now, fake daily double bottoms innately show short-term short strength, correct? However, in my opinion, this daily fake double bottom is aesthetically not up to par. Now, the reason for that is because this mid-level right here is slightly too high to be a double bottom. So in other words, if the mid-peak ended at these levels right here, well, in that case, this will be a double bottom that we could trade. However, that said, this double bottom is only slightly off in terms of aesthetics. So I would assume a lot of traders would make trading decisions based on this fake double bottom. So since a fake double bottom does innately show short-term strength, however, if price could start reaching its target height level, perhaps traders will view this as long strength. However, since this double bottom is aesthetically not up to par, even if price does reach these levels, that is no sign of strong long strength. And so at the current moment, although price may reach these higher levels, there's no confirmation of long strength, and I'll be willing to take any short entry with a daily or weekly bias at this point. Okay, so if price pulls all the way back to these levels, makes a daily short trade, and falls down a little and makes a daily long trade, at that point, even before judging the strength of both these biases, it's more than likely there will be more short strength than long strength due to this double bottom not being up to par aesthetically to begin with. Okay, alright, so that's it for the weekly forecast. I hope you guys have a great week, and thanks for watching. Okay, bye.